Hey there guys, so I want to thank you for taking the time to check out today's video. I kind of changed it a little bit so that you could see a little bit more of me instead of me being in the corner. So, of course, what we're going to be going over today is why recovery matters more than ego over 30. So, before I do get started with this stream, of course, I do want to share a few points related to my website. So if you're not aware, you can check out my website, which is bponlinefitness.com. There's a ton of information on there related to online fitness coaching, as well as how you can learn more about what I have to offer. You can check out the free fitness blog that I upload to there each and every Friday. And then I also make sure to keep an update on my latest live stream. So my latest live stream, usually from Facebook, is on the homepage. So you can check it out there. And I also make sure to, of course, add other information on there as well. You can sign up to my email list on my website, as well as a ton of other information on there for fitness, nutrition, and recovery. A lot of free, tangible advice that you can take with you when it comes to a workout routine. So, again, guys, I really do appreciate your time. If you do find these streams that I do here on YouTube, on Facebook, or even on TikTok, if you do find anything I share valuable, feel free to, of course, share it with anybody that you think would find helpful. I'm continuing to try to grow my audience on multiple platforms, not just here on YouTube, but on Facebook as well as TikTok. And though I have been growing pretty steadily on there, I still want to continue to get my information out there. So if you do find any of this helpful, valuable at any point, feel free to let me know. Of course, you guys know that I do share more outside of the fitness content, and definitely check out all the other content I share related to some of my personal stories and things of that nature. And again, the reason why I combine all of these different elements into one when I talk about fitness and I talk about some of my personal stories is because I think a lot of this relates and a lot of it connects together. So that's really what I want to discuss when we go over, all of these major different points in our workouts and then all of the major points when it comes to our overall routine and our overall health and well-being. So that's why, of course, I discuss these topics. So I do have a chat, of course, on here, and is speaking about, can I do an intense cardio session and a strength training session on the same day? You can. That's totally fine. Depending on your goal, though, it is important to balance that out. So if you're focusing on muscle gain, you do want to limit your cardio slightly to where your cardio is not overtaking your strength training. So the duration of your strength training needs to be a little bit more than your cardio. So yes, it's okay to combine cardio and strength training. Usually the clients that I work with do both of those in the same day. It's just the cardio is limited a little bit more versus the strength training itself. So I hope that that's a little bit helpful. But yes, you can combine those together. It's all, again, dependent on your goal, though, in particular. So, what we're going to be talking about today is on why recovery matters more than ego over 30. So, there's a bunch of different points that I'm going to be discussing here today in this stream. And we're going to be primarily, of course, talking about recovery. And what I mean by recovery is what we do post workout. What we do post workout really matters and is going to help with our overall growth in our routine. So, why recovery becomes the real growth phase after 30, ego lifting versus joint longevity, the nervous system fatigue nobody talks about, why consistency beats destroying yourself in one workout, sleep, the most underrated muscle building tool over 30, and recovery debt, the hidden reason progress stalls. So these are all of the points we're going to be discussing here today. Roughly 7 points. Well, three, four, five, six, seven. Yeah. So it's basically 7 different points that we're going to be discussing here today. Well, I've got six here, six on screen, but Usually I do 7 slots, and that's why I get it mixed up. But anyways, we're doing 6 different topics today. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. So the first one we want to discuss is why recovery becomes the real growth phase after 30. So recovery again is what you do post workout. This is what you do outside of your routine, and this makes a big impact on your progress. And then as we age, of course, this becomes even more crucial to our workout routine itself. So as the body ages, recovery capacity often changes faster than motivation does. Your muscle growth is going to depend on repairing and adapting from training stress and not just surviving the workouts themselves. Recovery quality directly affects performance, energy, strength, and muscle repair. So the different factors that are going to sort of contribute to recovery is going to be your sleep, hydration, your nutrition, as well as your stress management. These become really important for consistent progress. So what you do, again, when it comes to it's not only just your workouts, what you do in your nutrition, staying hydrated throughout the day, getting proper sleep at night is all going to contribute to those results that are coming from your workout routine. And the same with managing your stress. So, if you're overtraining without adequate recovery, this can lead to fatigue accumulation, which means this is going to lead to stalled strength and is going to, of course, lead to joint discomfort and burnout at the same time. So you have to make sure, again, that you balance your training alongside your workouts themselves. When you balance these together, it makes it easy for you to progress more efficiently. The nervous system also needs recovery, especially after intense training, life stress, and poor sleep. The nervous system is a big part of what is contributing to our performance in our workouts. So if we are continuously fatigued and stressed, this is where the nervous system is kind of struggling, in other words, and where it's going to affect your overall progression in your workouts and being able to move forward and get to where you want to be in those workouts. So again, recovery is what we do post workout. Our sleep, our hydration, our nutrition, and stress, that combination of these elements together is going to contribute to the tops of results that we're going to see again, and this becomes even crucial as we age. So ego lifting versus joint longevity, excuse me. So ego lifting, to clarify what that means, ego lifting prioritizes weight over control, stability, and proper execution. So ego lifting, in other words, is when you're just focusing on swinging the weight, when you're just focusing on lifting the heaviest weight possible, but not prioritizing your overall form and how you're performing the rep itself. So joint longevity prioritizes sustainable movement patterns that the body can recover from consistently. So the way that you focus primarily on your joint longevity comes from basically having control in the reps, how you're controlling those reps, how you're able to go through that full range of motion, fully extending the weight down, lifting the weight with control, pausing briefly as you're going between, each phase in the workout. Like I mentioned previously, we go through 3 different phases in workouts, and so it's very important to make sure that you combine all of these elements together, your stability, your tension, all of those different points together are going to help with your overall progression. Muscle growth from tension, muscles grow from tension and quality execution, not simply moving from the heaviest load possible. So it's all about how you have control of the weight, how you have control of basically that tension that is being found in the muscle. So excessive momentum, again, when you're swinging the weight, when you're rushing the movement, this is going to shift stress away from the target muscle in which we're trying to engage, and it is going to transfer into the joints and the connective tissue. So we want to focus on relying more on how we control that weight, how we keep that tension going in the workout. Poor positioning, shortened range of motion, and unstable reps are going to increase unnecessary joint stress over time. So, poor positioning, what that basically means is how we're starting out in the workout, how we start the workout, like our starting position, making sure that our body is properly aligned. We have to make sure that we do that as we're getting started with the workout because this is going to be the foundation to our movement as we're going throughout the rep in the workout. And then shorten range of motion. When you shorten your range of motion, this really affects, of course, how that muscle is being engaged. It's going to affect your overall muscle growth, and it's going to, again, transfer. If you're not focusing on a complete range of motion, it's going to transfer to unnecessary joint stress. And that's what you want to, of course, avoid. So again, make sure that you focus on a good starting position. A lot of times, if you've seen my videos that I've discussed, a lot of times I discuss basically how you should start out and work out, making sure your body is upright, your shoulders are down and back, your chest is up, of course, making sure that you're in proper alignment. These are all the different points that you want to think about when you get started. And then, of course, your range of motion is how you go throughout the rep, how you fully go from rep to rep in the workout. So, the nervous system fatigue, nobody talks about. So, like I mentioned, the nervous system is a very big part of our sort of performance in our workouts. So, your nervous system controls your coordination, your force production, stability, focus, and muscle recruitment. So, you may not be aware of that, but your nervous system uses a lot of different parts of our body overall to be able to perform movements. So, heavy training, emotional stress, and poor sleep and excessive intensity all place stress on the nervous system. So, whenever you do really heavy training, whenever your sleep is not where it should be, these are all placing that stress on the nervous system. So, when these things start to add up, this is where your performance in your workout is being affected. So, nervous system fatigue often appears before physical soreness does. So, you may feel mentally drained, weak, sluggish, unmotivated, or unstable, even when muscles are not sore. So, what that means is when you feel that feeling of being drained, of being weak in your workouts or just throughout the day, that means your nervous system is just basically overloaded, in other words. Constant high intensity training without recovery can reduce workout quality and overall performance. So, again, this is where our recovery plays a crucial role in our progress. We have to make sure that we take time to create a proper sleep schedule, make sure that we take time to get the proper nutrients in our body, spreading out our nutrients throughout the day, staying hydrated throughout the day. All of these different things are going to help with that recovery process and is going to, again, alleviate fatigue. So if you're feeling any of those types of signals, like what I've mentioned, being weak or sluggish, that could be your nervous system. And that means you might need to prioritize more of your recovery at the moment. So, why consistency beats destroying yourself in one workout? So, like what I've mentioned many times before, is that it's not completely about trying to make every workout be perfect. All of your workouts are not going to be perfect all at the same time. It's more about the consistency that you build in your routine that is going to help with your muscle growth, being able to progress more efficiently. All of these different points are what's going to help you with making the most of your workouts. So muscle growth doesn't happen during the workout itself. Training creates the signal, but recovery is where repair and adaptation actually happens. So again, recovery capacity changes with age. So poor sleep, stress, inconsistent nutrition, and excessive fatigue are going to directly impact performance and muscle repair more noticeably after 30. So you have to make sure that you prioritize recovery as much as possible, especially through aging. Joint health, connective tissue recovery, hydration, and nervous system fatigue matter more than chasing nonstop intensity. So don't just constantly try to do the hardest workouts every single time. Your focus, like I mentioned, when you start out with workouts, your focus should be on mastering movements. It shouldn't be just jumping into weightlifting right away. It should be about getting used to the movements, adjusting to those movements, and then being able to progress from there. When you progress from there, that's what makes it more efficient that you're going to progress to heavier lifting using a wider range of exercise modalities like using dumbbells, barbells, things of that nature. When you progress and again focus on mastering basic movements when you get started, it's going to make it better. So, recovery is what allows progressive overload to continue safely. So, like what I mentioned, that's basically what we're talking about with progressive overload, where we're being able to increase the weight, we're increasing the intensity gradually to, again, as our body adapts to those workouts, that's what's leading to how we're able to progress, how that muscle growth happens. So, as far as vitamins and supplements, now when it comes to different vitamins and supplements, I was just addressing what's on the chat here from Charles. So, as far as vitamins and supplements that you need to think about, what I would focus on mostly is with your vitamins, I would focus more on, again, really your more multivitamin based vitamins in particular. As far as your supplements in particular, your supplements I would prioritize is more really, if you think about the grand scheme of recovery, as long as your nutrition is where it needs to be, you don't have to focus so much on your supplements. Of course, vitamins are crucial, but then at the same time, too, when you have proper nutrition, you're sort of going to get those vitamins, and then supplements are there to supplement what you're lacking. So, what I would say for supplements is more of your whey protein, of course, if you're lacking in protein intake, and all of it's just dependent on what you're focusing on. I always recommend a lot of times creatine to clients if they're focusing on muscle gain because creatine does have a lot of benefits to muscle gain and it can help, especially when your goal is on muscle gain, to help with the recovery process in the body. So it can help in that way as well. But again, your vitamins, you're going to get a lot of vitamins as long as your nutrition is in check. You're going to get a lot of vitamins from from your foods. So again, if you do lack in a vitamin, of course, that's where you would need to supplement for that particular type of vitamin. Of course, there's individual vitamins for where you lack, but again, that's all dependent on how your nutrition is. So I can't say for a fact what you would need to focus on. So as far as magnesium, I know you said, would you recommend magnesium prior to sleep to help sleep better? That could help. Another thing I would think about too is, again, with sleep, as far as helping to better your sleep, I think a big thing to think about a lot of times is tracking your sleep. I don't know if you track your sleep, but that's a good way to start to create more of this, again, consistent sleep schedule. That helps a lot to sort of get a grasp on where your sleep is as far as the cycle that you go through in sleep. But yes, that can help. uh, Including various different supplements like that could help to again alleviate that. But make sure too that you're not having to rely on something, I guess, to help you sleep better. In other words, you do want to try to work on creating a schedule that is consistent. I think what helps a lot with, and I know that a lot of us can have a wide, like our schedules can be all over the place, but whenever you focus on creating a consistent schedule, that does help a ton. Making sure that you have a proper time to where you wind down, and then, of course, a time to where you do fall asleep. As you create that schedule, it does become second nature. But again, that's what I would say as far as that. So, continuing on here with our particular topic, and that's what I was going to discuss next with sleep. So, Sleep is the most underrated muscle building tool over 30. So, again, muscle is not during the workout alone, it is repaired and strengthened during recovery. So, again, poor sleep reduces recovery efficiency, making workouts still harder and slowing muscle repair. So, sleep actually supports your hormone balance, including your testosterone, growth hormone, and recovery related processes. So, a lot of your recovery is coming from sleep. So, one of the things that I've mentioned before is if you do track sleep, one thing you'll notice is that you go through, of course, different stages. And there is a stage that is called deep sleep, and this is where a lot of your hormones, like a lot of your hormone and muscle repair kind of happens. If you do track your sleep, normally you'll stay in this phase for 30 minutes, roughly. At least for me, I stay in this phase 30 minutes. And this is where a lot of muscle repair is going to happen. So if you have a decent amount of sort of that deep sleep, phase when you're tracking sleep, that really means that you're benefiting a lot from muscle repair. So make sure that you're sort of getting that stage of sleep. Again, the way you can track that is if you use an Apple Watch or a Fitbit. There's multiple ways that you can track, but that's the most important thing I think that really helps you be more aware of your sleep is tracking it. Another thing too is that inadequate sleep again is reducing training performance, strength output, and focus, as well as your workout motivation. But again, the best way that you can keep that sleep consistent and stay on track with it is, again, creating a schedule, having a time to where you wind down and sleep, and of course, making sure your room's well, having a proper temperature in your room. Another thing too is that certain factors can contribute to your sleep that may affect it if you're constantly staying active for a period of time before your sleep, that can sort of affect it. So again, making sure that you have sort of a time frame to where you wind down, where you're not doing a ton of things and not continuously being active, that can kind of again affect your sleep. There's multiple factors, and this is something I'll probably discuss a little bit further in another stream itself. But again, just know that your sleep is going to have an effect on your progression. Recovery debt and the hidden reason progress stalls. So, recovery debt happens when stress is consistently exceeding your ability to, excuse me, sorry, I still have a cough, ability to recover. Hard workouts, poor sleep, and emotional stress, undereating, and dehydration all add to the recovery burden. So, all these different factors are going to stack upon each other. And when they stack upon each other, this is going to make it harder for that recovery to happen. Many people think they need more intensity when they actually need better recovery management. So, if you're working really hard in your workouts, but you feel like progress isn't where it needs to be, taking a time to step back and think about how your recovery is, as well as your nutrition, is the best idea you can do, or the best sort of thought to think about, because you never know. It may just be your recovery that just needs to be adjusted that could help you with your progression. So, constant fatigue again is going to reduce strength, performance stability, coordination, and workout quality. So muscle growth is slowing when the body spends more time surviving stress than adapting to it. So when that stress is really high, you're constantly in this fight or flight mode with your body again, and it's trying to recover, but it doesn't have the ability to do that because of the stress levels being so high. Maybe you're not having proper nutrition, maybe your sleep is not where it needs to be. So this adds up and it just becomes harder and harder for progression to happen. So sometimes the best way to progress is actually to slow down and to take a step back and see what may need to be improved in your routine. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today as far as this stream is concerned. And I really appreciate your time. I hope that this was helpful and valuable to you. And again, I will likely go into further detail on some more topics when it comes to sleep. breaking down more detail on various different points that may help you guys a little bit better to understand, again, various aspects of not only your progress in your fitness routine, but how it relates to your overall health at the same time. So there's so many different things that I could discuss when it comes to a lot of these topics, and there will be more topics I'll discuss. But again, I hope that you guys found this helpful and valuable. And like I mentioned, especially after 30, what we really need to prioritize more, just as much as our workouts, is what we do post workout. Our recovery is what is going to lead to that progression. Again, that's what you need to think about. So I hope that this helped you guys a little bit and this gave you a little bit of insight. If you do want to check out what I have to offer, my website is bponlinefitness.com. There's a ton of information on there related to online fitness coaching. I always make sure to keep it updated with a ton of information that you guys can take with you. It's not just about learning about what I have to offer related to online fitness coaching. I do have a ton of free resources on there. I have a fitness blog. My latest live streams are always on there, as well as you can sign up to my email list where you can get a free email newsletter each and every Monday. So that's something that I do send out as well. So definitely check that out. Again, if you want to learn more, it's bponlinefitness.com, and you can go to the website directly from my, of course, YouTube channel on here. It should be linked at the top of my channel. So thank you guys once again for taking the time to check this out. If there's any topics you would like me to discuss in the future, feel free to let me know. And again, guys, I always do these streams every Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we'll be doing another one next Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. So thank you guys once again. If you guys have questions, feel free to let me know. And again, share any of the feedback you may have. But with all that being said, guys, I will see you guys next Thursday in the next live stream. So thank you guys once again for watching.